Hello there, and thanks for joining me today. Today I've got Andy with me. Hi, Andy.
Hello, hi.
How are you doing?
Doing great, thank you.
Cool. So listen, Andy's coming as one of the teachers at the Tantra Love Festival in California this September. And the purpose of this video is to tell you a little bit more about one of Andy's workshops, which is called Sacred Intimacy. Andy, tell us a bit about that.
Well, sacred intimacy is something that's very close to my heart. I did train with the Body Electric in sacred intimacy, and I'm taking one aspect of this, which is about holding a loving space for someone else. And it's a very simple, very beautiful thing to be able to do and offer. And this is what I'd like to offer in the Tantra Festival in California.
Cool. And when you say holding space, tell me a little bit about that. What does that look like?
Well, essentially, you ask someone how they are and what their intention would be, and then you find something that you would like to offer with a full open heart, with generosity. There's a little negotiation that happens around what you feel like offering. It could be that you've learned some new skills on a festival that you want to try something out as well, and that could be offered.
Yes.
Essentially, that's a time to check in and see how you are and really get in touch with what you need moment. So not necessarily learning more skills, but just tuning into how you are and how it feels to be with that person and asking for what you want.
And what really occurs to me as you're talking, same old patterns or the same script that they've had around intimate connections with other men. And what I love what you're saying is actually it's about dropping the story and working on what's the real connection in the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, I will probably do the exercise a couple of times, but
Yes.
Initially we tend to ask first from the head, and then the second time it comes towards the heart. And that's what I'll be encouraging, is to really and the body as for what it's wanting in that moment. And I know in the festival everyone starts to open up, and it's a really beautiful thing to offer there, because very quickly people do move into this. And once you know how to hold a loving space for someone, it's very easy then to take that.
And what do you notice during this workshop? Because you said that people start in their head, then they kind of come down, and they then end up in their heart. What does that look like in the workshop? What do you notice in the years you run it?
Yeah, it can look like nothing has changed, actually. It's such a love, very simple. So there's no sort of acrobatic kind of things that are happening.
Yes.
And it can be the act of holding, simply holding someone for a period of time. Okay. And I think what you really feel in the room is this sense of attention.
Yes.
So quite often in our worlds, we're being distracted. We're on our phones, on computers all the time. And to actually just fall into giving someone your entire attention for that moment is a really beautiful and actually quite special thing these days.
And you said that this is something... Sorry, say that last bit again.
Well, that's what you feel in this room, is this sense of giving attention.
And you said that people can kind of then take that into their everyday lives. So how might stuff be different for them in their day-to-day lives?
Well, it's really great to actually not be too multitasking all the time. I believe that giving something your full attention is a spiritual practice in itself.
Yes.
In a way, this draws a little bit on Buddhism. So when you're making a meal, it's really great to focus on what you're doing, to really enter into that spirit of offering love to whatever it is you're offering, or whatever action you're doing.
And do people say to you that this practice kind of frees them up in some way?
That's a good question. I think it's more that they remember having been in that place and haven't entered that space for a long time. So most people say it's a familiar space, and they've forgotten how valuable it was and how important it was to enter into that. So it's not really teaching anything new. It's more reminding people of how important that space can be. And then what can come from that is this real sense of opening and expansion that arrives at the end of the experience.
It feels almost magical in some way, that from what I hear, and a kind of more open-hearted and free and kind of coming back to, as you said about reminding people, it's like bringing them back to that space.
Absolutely. And there's nothing more beautiful than two human beings in a loving space, and eventually really it's both people holding loving space for each other, and it's absolutely wonderful.
So Andy, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for telling us about this workshop.
Thank you. I look forward to sharing the Sacred Intimacy space with you all.
And if this sounds like you and you'd love to experience this beautiful, loving space, come and join Andy at the Tantra Love Festival in September in California. You'll be very, very welcome. And Andy, thank you for spending the time with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.